Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We're here for the 2023 Maricopa Open presented by Infinite Discs, the Copper Sky Disc Golf Course, of course, located in Maricopa. And we've been watching the action with Adam Hammes, along with Connor Rock, also Clint Calvin, and rounding out our card is Max Nichols. We're through the front nine, so we're now heading into the back. Again, this is the round one action. Thank you guys so much for joining and tuning in. This is a PDGA A-Tier taking place in early February of 2023. And Adam Hammes on the tee, ready to go here on hole 10.
Sit down, please. Come on. So lame.
Hammes asking for that to sit down. Not often are you begging for it to hit the tree, but that one does. See the mandatories placed on the poles up there. Must navigate inside of those mandos, so in to the right of those. As it says, disc must pass right of the marked pole and line. With that going off too far to the right, you see him missing, or correction, finding him out of bounds.
Great shot. Thank you. Toro? Yes, sir.
Going to go ahead and guess with what we're seeing here on hole number 10 that this has to be playing as one of the more difficult holes on the course. They do some math. It looks like it's the fifth most difficult, averaging .22 over par. So now Max has work to do. This is just to save bogey. Little frustration from Nichols as he was off to such a great start. Landed in some OB/Miss Mando trouble a few holes back and has been since then given strokes away to the course. Not much left for Adam, but still making sure of his footing. And same thing, not necessarily a long putt, but just the awkwardness of how you're standing on those rocks. Make sure that your footing and your plant foot is solid. So Nichols in for the double bogey. That's going to push him from 1 under to 1 over. And not a lot of fun or excitement here on hole 10, if we're being real. We'll move on to 11 at just 318 feet. You must go left of the pole. You see it marked there with a mandatory. You must go to the left of that. Any missed mando would go directly to a drop zone. Hard for that one to fade back or drift back over to that right-hand side. I like the angle here that Connor has, lining up the forehand. Also dealing with some right to left wind, and he just turns this over right out of his hand. Just puts it on too much Anheuser turn immediately, so not giving it enough air or time to get back. Now a hole that sets up well for the lefty. Let's see if Max can get back on track. And you see how much, as that popped up, it normally would have skipped harder to the right, but you see how much the wind just made it stall out. But just 318, you can see that the wind doing some work out here. Max is going to pitch up. That should be an easy tap-in par. Looks to be the same from Connor. Hole 11 just barely averaged under par. For the day, 2.98. Just 0.2 of a point under par. Or 0.2 of a stroke, I guess. We were playing disc golf, aren't we? Oh,
Not deserve that.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm gonna move my cart. Okay, cool.
Could not agree more. What a terrible roll. So Clint's going to turn his birdie look into a bogey. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Sorry, missed it.
Adam had got up pretty quickly and tapped out. No problem. He's got the par. Clint in for bogey. And you see the rest of the group both tapping in for par.
Adam ran it, so like I had to run it.
Nobody's second guessing what happened there, Clint. I mean, you're right. You're running at the birdie putt, and you just got a terrible roll away. Nobody blames you. We head over to hole number 12, 420 feet. This is a par 4.
Yeah, right. I'm not even watching that. Oh!
So I'll read the rules here. It says the disc must land in island 1 or 2. If you don't, you go to the drop zone. And that's going to be ultimately out of bounds for Connor.
Not what I want. The wind as soon as it like picked up.
Happy mistake. And
Thank you.
Clint just pitching up to the first island. And that's going to push off to the left side, but inbounds for Hamas. So he'll have a long look to possibly save the par. Honor going with much lower shot. And that also will be on the island, but the extra skip didn't do him any favors. And a very difficult angle here for Max. So he hits the tree, falls back into the OB area. I believe he goes to another drop zone that's offered. Clint liked it. Looks like it's going to be left. This is what's known as drop zone 2. And this is to save the par. You see the reaction, almost getting it to fall in. That's going to be a tap in and the par, which at this point isn't looking so bad. Hole 12, the third most difficult hole on the course, averaged 4.26, so more than a quarter stroke over par. Spoiler, there were almost a handful of eagles, but those quickly get negated by quite a few over par strokes that were dished out left and right. But this was eagled with the 2 by 4 different competitors, one of which you saw near the top of the leaderboard. Strike that, 2 of which you did. So a couple of tap-ins, and we're 2/3 of the way through the opening round. Well, 12, not doing anyone favors here. We move over to hole number 13, which is 250 feet, also playing as an island. You must come to rest and land in the designated area, otherwise proceed to the drop zone. Oh, and hits the tree right next to the pin, gets it to drop. Should be inside 25 feet. And that goes deep. And you see not a lot of ground play coming into that island green at the moment. And that's going to be even closer than Clint's effort. Great shot by Connor. And not on the island. Max off the mark. It is a very, very small island that we find here on 13. It's Nichols to save his par. That'd be at least bogeys for Nichols along with Hamas. Solid comeback putt. I said inside 25, I think. More like inside 15. Great shot by Clint. And just for comparison's sake, as I'm looking at the caddy book, some of the other professional divisions do not necessarily play this with the exact same rules. For instance, FP40, FP50, MP60, they don't play the same rules as the MPO and a few of the other professional divisions. So really the point there is double check your caddy guide. Make sure you know what rules are always applicable to you. They may vary by division. The wide open hole 14, 363, OB to the left of the basket.
Oh my God. Take me home.
Frustrated, but both inbounds and not terrible for Hamas. See if that's just the right angle and skip for Max. And wow, does that continue to roll and push. Solid putt for Nichols. They'll bring him back to 2 over. It's been a rough going here in the last few holes. So seemingly frustrated, Hamas is going to walk away with the birdie from 20 feet. And it looks like we're drawing up a star frame here.
Straight the whole way, yeah.
Hole 14 played as the 5th easiest hole on the course, averaging 2.85.
I thought it was left short, long. Like you're saying, going out of bounds in practice, I was throwing eagle.
And we head over to hole 15, which played over par on the round. 407 feet. Not exactly opposite of what we just played on 14, but not too much off of it. You're essentially playing back the opposite direction. So whatever wind you just had, it's going to be coming at you. Wow, that's a huge skip and out of bounds for Clint. And I've always felt like this 407, possibly due to the wind, has played more like 425, maybe even close to 440. Often it's just a ripping headwind, so we see it gently blowing right to left today. That should help out our righty throwers. However, that comes up very quickly. When you throw this one out to the right, depending on the angle and the speed that it comes in at, there's a good chance it's going to get a skip or 2 or 3 and can easily find itself out of bounds on the sidewalk and beyond. There's 1 skip, 2, 3, and that one then flops over for him. So conservative and safe way out to that right side. Kind of respecting that OB and respecting the uncertainty of the skips. And Max not wanting to mess with the out of bounds as well. That's exactly why you don't see a ton of birdies out here, is because most competitors are just thinking no matter what, just don't throw it left. Don't let it skip left. You have a huge bailout zone to this right side, so just walking away with a par feels okay. Connor and Max both in easy layup zone. Here's Hamas. He's able to give this one a bid. You've got to be worried about exactly that. Wind possibly pushing if it gets underneath the disc. In this case, he hits off the top of the band and just accelerates past. So he's going to turn that birdie look into at least a bogey, and Clint not able to save the par. And almost exactly that 12 o'clock position directly behind Adam. That's where tournament had started off. That's over there where hole 1 is. Hammis will fall back to 2 under. Most competitors are thinking anywhere around double digits should be a good round out here. I mean, the trick is to just not give anything up when you're looking at some of the Mando holes or some of the other island greens that you have out here. I think anywhere between that 7 and 10 range is what most players are going to be shooting for. We head over to 16, 356 feet. And 16 is very straightforward here. Little more challenger option, we'll say here for the lefty and Max Nichols. He's looking to keep this one low because he's worried about the branches, but possibly even a skip off the road. Or just rides the road. If that catches an edge plus a couple skips, that's going to be a decent shot. I guess it wouldn't be ideal to skip it off the road, but if you're lefty, you do have that option if you're coming in with some hyzer angle. That's kind of the ultimate bailout. Clint going up and over, and that's going to drift off to the left side of the pin. Circle's edge or so. And really, these trees aren't in play for anyone on this card with enough power. Bushes and trees on this right side. You're just going up and over them, as we just saw by Adam. Circle 2 look for Nichols. Elevated basket, which then immediately means you're going to have a longer comeback when you don't draw any metal on it. So now Connor actually has some obstruction here. It looks like he's got to hit a window, goes up and over. Good bid, but doesn't get it to drop. And next, we will have Clint. Maybe 11, 12 meters. Just off the cage. Oh, and some of you have asked, why in the world do I occasionally call out meters? We're in America. We are. We're playing here in America. But just keep in mind, our sport is an international sport. Everybody else in the world does use meter. We have a 10-meter circle, a 20-meter circle. Just kind of a polite reminder that we are international, and hopefully that helps make everyone feel a little bit more inclusive. I know you're used to feet. Feet are so easy for us, but... And a little bit of a secret, when they're at 10 meters or 11 meters, and I can tell because there's a circle painted, that's when it's easiest for me. My approximations may not otherwise be dead on, but when it's kind of laid out right in front of me, sometimes it's nice to throw out those numbers, just to keep in mind that we have so much international flavor. Or if it's really easy, it's a 324-foot hole. What is that exactly, 100 meters? It's a matter of me trying to sound as smart as I can with as little effort as possible. Boy, do I need the help, too. Anyway, everybody tapping out. Looks like a bunch of pars here. Hole 16. Not giving up anything for this card. I'm guessing that'll change throughout the weekend, at least on some of our featured cards or our lead card for rounds 2 and 3. This is one you should be going out to get. I'm going to keep things rolling in our Zuka over to hole number 17. And 17 playing from a completely different spot than what you've seen in years past. In fact, this is one kind of excitedly got ready for some ace runs at in the past. And now we're going much longer. That one comes in bounds for Max, but really frustrated for missing his line. Clint calling it too low, but I wouldn't be upset or disappointed with that result. Oh, and not far from another skip ace. Just to the left of the pin for Hamas. So Max has some work to do here just to get up and down. Wide open, plays it left, gets that one to skip up. Certainly in makeable range for Nichols. Connor outside the circle as he's lining up the jumper. Or should I say maybe the step putt. The few times we've seen him miss a putt, it's been right off the front of the cage. Just very deadly, very accurate. He started out with some great putting strokes, and anytime that he has missed here this round, I feel like it's just barely been off. He's sitting at 5 under. That's where he'll remain. Now Hamas trying to get to 3 under with a birdie here. He converts. $16 played pretty much right in the middle of the pack, which isn't relevant because we're on 17, which played dead center in the middle of the pack. 16 played at 2.98, and 17 played at 3. Exactly 3. And 2 out of the 15 birdies that happened on hole 17 were right here on this card. .26% of the field had bogey or worse. Meanwhile, 28% of the field had birdies. And we're moving on to hole 18 to close out this opening round. A par 4 at 717 feet. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. As we're here on hole 18. Clint in great position. You see those 2 posts right there, 1 tree, 1 post. Those are Mandos. So you must navigate straight through them, which almost every competitor is going to be attempting on their second shot. And a perfectly placed shot there for Hamas. And then we have an OB that will come into play once you get past those Mando markers. Then you have OB both on left and right as well. Look, great skips. That's going to flirt with the right side out of bounds after a few more skips, but he actually stays in bounds. So that area off to the right, the entire length of this fairway is going to be out of bounds. You see the little pavement there. That and beyond, just like on most of the course, is going to be OB, anything off to that right-hand side. Now, once you navigate through these 2 Mandos, then we have an OB line that is now started on the left side. So it really plays as a narrow strip the entire way to the pin on this par 4. And Hamas thought that it maybe was going to be left side OB, but it looks like it stays in for him. As you can see, the disc dipping down. The ground plays down and then comes back up, and ultimately the basket is just short of the road. I mean, if you're thinking about it, 717 feet, that's two 350-foot shots, or maybe you bit off 400 on the first one, leaving you just 315 on the second. This is Connor for birdie. Solid. What a great finish there. Picking up the birdie. He's going to go to 6 under. And we'll have the hot round of this card. Also picking up a birdie to close out. A little bit of a slow round, especially for his expectations for Hammis at 4 under. Make sure you comment. Tell me something you're thankful for in disc golf. That's what I want to know. In doing so, we'll make you eligible for a giveaway. Shop.thediscgolfguy.com has a ton of goodies for you, and I've got some stuff I can give away from my site. Usually it's Double G Jerky. They support me, and I love sharing the love of some Double G Jerky as we watch Nichols in. He's going to finish with a rough 1 over. But I really appreciate you guys joining along for this action. This is a PDGA A-Tier. We've got 3 rounds for the Maricopa Open. Sam and Chuck, Russ, and the whole crew doing so much, along with our title sponsor in Infinite Disc. Clint's in for the par. And we'll take a look at the leaderboard after round 1. That'll tell us who we're going to see in round 2's lead card action. Big shout out to Spicy Boy. Thanks for helping out along with my buddy Tyler. And that leaderboard for round number 1 looked like this. AB, hot 12 under. Owen Bear with 9. Marweed with an 8. Aaron Gossage with a 7. That's going to be your lead card for round 2. I'm excited to see what they can do with it. We'll see you there.